We're going to do our makeup today with the Buff Brush and the Smudge Brush, and I'm going to show you how versatile these two can be. Hi, my name is Lisa. I've been an esthetician for 22 years, recent Seint artist because I became obsessed with this cream makeup and how it behaves on mature skin. Thanks for joining me again, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I'm going to show you a full look with these two brushes. You could do your whole face. This particular Buff Brush is usually attributed to having full coverage, but you could also sheer it out. What is really nice about this for mature skin especially is the buffing that you can do with this and actually get the makeup pressed into the skin where it looks even more skin-like. So in my palette today, this is the palette 8, which is one of the palettes that I recommend. Instead of the palette 4, you could always start with the 4. You could do whatever you want. But this is nice because then you have room to grow. So I have the basic 4 colors here on top, and then on the bottom I have some extra things that I'm going to use in the full look. So I'm going to do the traditional 3D placement. And because this is all foundational coverage, these 3 right here, these are my highlights and then my contour, and then this is my blush. But I am going to do the traditional, what you have seen before, I am quite sure, with putting on my contour first. This particular contour is a little bit warmer, which I wanted because it also kind of acts as my bronzer because of that. So I just do that here on that side. I'm using the small end of the Buff Brush, and you can see it kind of buffs as I go. Moving up to my forehead, just do a couple of dots and then just kind of do circular motions to buff everything in. And a little along the jawline. I'm not going to get too crazy because I'm not really doing the chiseling thing. I'm just kind of warming it up to make a little differentiation around my jaw. So it kind of gives me more of a structured jaw. Also kind of hides the double chin too if you make this a little bit darker than your foundation shade. Now I'm going to use the bigger end, and I am going to go into my main shade here. And to get your main shade, contact me. All of my information is down below. Text number, I have a text service number, which is really easy to communicate with me. Back and forth, it's just like much more of a real-time conversation, and we can go over your color match so I can pick your proper colors so we can get you started so you can try this cream makeup. So now you can see how easy that is. It's like these sweeping motions. I put the makeup on the non-movable parts of my face, and then I start to migrate it, and it spreads so easily everywhere else, so I don't have caked on makeup like around the mouth lines and around the eyes. So this whole area is done here. And then you see I have this pesky pimple. I actually did in the beginning of the video kind of cover it a little bit, but I knew it was going to pop out. So the smudge brush is really good for this pinpoint concealing that we can do. And then I just go around it. So it just kind of mutes the redness. I can't really do much about the texture and the 3D bump that is there now until it starts to heal even more. But this cream makeup really does look skin-like, and it doesn't look like all dry and cakey like that traditional water-based foundation. Oh my God. It is like one of my biggest pet peeves. Now for the under eyes, I'm going to show you 2 things. You could either use the smudge brush because it's smaller, so you could really do like pinpoint application, or the small side of the Buff Brush, which I love. So I am just going to go straight in with my main shade here. And I'll do this side with this one. And I usually go under by the orbital bone first and bring it up because I don't want anything super, globbed onto my soft tissue. And when I do this, it just deposits the right amount where it needs for coverage, as you can see there. And I always go above, like on my eyelids, just one little dollop here. And I do have eye primer on. Again, everything is linked down below, along with my information, everything that I used today. There we go. And as you can see, that actually softened the contour that I had because I went around the border with my foundation shade. And now it just looks like a structured bronzy glow is what I was going for, which is why I picked a contour that was a little warmer. Again, we go over all of this stuff with your color match, what you prefer from your makeup. With your color match, when you send me a makeup-free selfie, I can see your undertones so I can properly pick the tones that will work for you and your complexion. So next thing, I'm going to show you the smudge brush, and instead of using this side for the under eyes, you could use the smaller one. Having these 2 brushes together, I think they work in conjunction very well. You can see how I could really get into the corners and use a minimal amount of makeup because this stuff is so pigmented. Go to the other side where you don't have any makeup on and buff it even further. There we go. So this shade is Athens, and I am obsessed with it. It is a newer highlight from Seint. I'm going to my eyelids again here. And this has been such a universal shade for light to medium skin tones, I would say, because it's neutral, but it has such coverage power. It's incredible because my under eyes, I always have like this issue. If you've been on my channel, you know that I'm always going on about the under eyes. And I know that there's, you know, quite a lot of people that struggle with the same thing. So this has been working so well. My color matches, a lot of them. I'm so happy they came out with this shade. Okay, so you can see I did the concealing with the smaller side of the buff brush on this side, and then on this side, you saw the technique for that. Super easy. It really is all about buffing minimal, light layers of makeup. Next thing. You don't necessarily have to powder, but that is one of the reasons why I always suggest the 8 or the 12. So as you can see here, I put a few eyeshadows because you could do eyeshadows with the smudge brush. You could also put powder in here. We have a vanilla dust setting powder that would go in here very nicely. It is translucent. So you would be able to use this, you know, and then just wipe off, knock off any excess powder that might be on there and you're good to go, because these brushes are really, really user-friendly in terms of that. You don't have to use 50 million brushes to do a whole look. And especially with the creams just kind of float on the bristles and just comes right off like as you're using them. So the next thing I'm going to do is my lip and cheek. I just wanted to do the basics today just to show you and showcase these brushes. Now, another reason why I am showcasing these two brushes in particular is because they are having the Brush Blitz sale. I'm uploading this video today, which is June 14th. And this deal is available to date only. They come in a bundle, and it also comes with the soap cleanser, which we have right here. Let me blend this out, and I'm going to show you that. You see how easy the buff brush blends everything, and it's actually very apparent with the color. So I literally only just tap and put a little bit of color and then stipple back and forth, and you could even kind of smooth it. You see it kind of just buffs everything so nicely. And flip it over to the other side where you have foundation if you want to kind of stipple the edges and blur them. Yeah, this buff brush really puts on seamless coverage with this cream makeup. So for today, June 14th, these are bundled together and they're having what they're calling the Brush Blitz this week. So today only this is available, the buff brush, the smudge brush, and our brush cleanser, and I'm going to show you that in a second. So this is $66.50, 30% off, and it is normally, if you were to get these all individually, $95, so it's a great deal. And I do really like the soap. It's actually really cute and compact in here, so of course you have your lid here, and then there is also a little silicone scrubby, which is very, very convenient. So this is where you scrub your bristles, and the soap, it smells like tea tree, and a little bit of lemongrass. So this is the soap. And of course, you know, like afterwards, like once you get it all wet, what I usually do is I'll just take this and kind of let it dry a little bit like on a napkin and make sure this is all dry, and then I store it right back after this is dry, you know, so it's super, super simple to use. I do use our spray brush cleanser constantly, like, well, not once a week. So actually this I only used once, and I really, really did love it because it's very gentle and it really cleans everything off and conditions the bristles, but then you have to wait for everything to dry. So I love this brush cleanser. This is the spray brush cleanser that we have that is the best one that I've ever used. It sounds crazy that I'm saying that about a brush cleanser, but really it is. I really love the conditioning properties of this. It's not only the cleansing. The cleansing is crazy, which I'm going to show you actually at the end. I'm just going to do it real quick so I can show you in real time how clean the brushes get. It smells amazing, smells like cotton candy, and but the conditioning properties is what is my favorite, because you can tell that the bristles are not all like ragged and ugh, oh my God. Because usually things that are really high in alcohol, obviously there's got to be alcohol in this because that's where the disinfecting property comes from, but the conditioning is just so good. And it's like a dry oil formula, so your brushes are ready to go. As long as you're not dousing your brushes and you're using it properly, you can use your brushes right away, so you don't have to wait for the brushes to dry. It's so good. Okay, getting back to the brushes. So now I am just going to do a little bit of brightening, and sometimes I'll do this before bronzer, but today I didn't use any bronzer, so I'm just going to do a tiny bit of brightening, and you could do it even with this one, you know, so this is the small end. You could do everything with either one of these brushes, and again, I never put anything right on the eye bag. I go around like almost like a natural highlight here, as you can see, and kind of give me like matte highlight and brighten the under eyes as well a little bit. Because again, don't want to go too overboard. As we mature, lighter foundations, especially if they're water-based, they really could look chalky. And if you're doing a little bit of brightening, you just have to do a little bit of strategic placement in order to get the effect, but to not get the ultra texture that we could get under our eyes. Totally tripping over my words in that last sentence. Okay, so now I'm gonna do it with this one. So let me see, I'll do it with the dome shape. And this is my brightening shade. I'm gonna go down here and just on the side. This also, I feel, helps to conceal this trough that I have. Not everybody has that, but I find it very, very helpful. And I'm gonna flip over here and kind of do very, very light, like just kissing the skin, not rubbing it hard at all, and everything just melts. So now I'm brightened. Can go over a little bit with where I had blush. And this is the side where I had the foundation. If you needed to erase anything, that's what's so great also about the cream makeup. It is very forgiving. It stays, but it is very forgiving. I'm going to do something super simple for my eyeshadow. Actually, this is a little bit of a deeper color, and it's called Coco. So I'm just going to put it like right on the outside here. And the same thing here. So you can see it's very pigmented. And sometimes I only just want to do 2 eyeshadows. So I have a shimmer here that I'm going to use, and I'm going to show you a trick that I like to do with it too. And then I'm just going to use this other side and just kind of blend it up so it gets a little bit lighter on the edges. This smudge brush is great for buffing as well, which is why I think that they pair well together, the buff brush and the smudge brush, because it's almost like the same kind of effect that you get on the skin, even with the powders. Okay. All right, now I'm going to show you another trick. On my second tier, I have my Seint Balm. So you have seen this before. I always use this under my eyes. I actually did it before the camera today. I should have done it as I was recording before I put my makeup on, but that's what I do. I always put it under my eyes because this is, it has squalane in it. It is a skincare ingredient that is amazing, for, especially for maturing skin, because we already have a form of squalane in our skin barrier. So this is just works so well and really moisturizes and keeps everything lightly moisturized. It's not going to overcake or make everything too slippery, especially since you're using the right amount, which is just 1 tap or 2 taps. And I am going to put this on my eyelids, which seems crazy because you would think it would crease, but I'm putting it on so thin. But the reason I do this is because, especially with mature lids and especially with shimmers, when you put the shimmers on, it doesn't look cakey or dry and crepey, which is what I don't like with eyeshadows now, you know, so I have to be cautious, you know, with how I put them on, because if I'm putting on a few layers, you know, I could get a little much. Okay, so this here is Drift. This is really, really pretty. And I'm just gonna go straight with my finger, and I already have that balm there, so it really spreads nicely. Use my other finger to kind of smooth it out. So you see how smooth that looks, but I do have a little bit of a glimmer, but it doesn't look all dry and crepey. Can't stand it. All right, so now I'm going to use the brush on this side so you can see the difference. So obviously when I put it on with my finger, it goes on a little bit more strong, and this is even more subtle. So I just have a little bit on here. See if it'll pick it up on camera. Yeah, pretty good. That actually picked it up better than I thought it would. And it's because of that balm. If you wanted to, you could pick up a little bit of that Coco again and just go a little bit more on the corner. Not too much because this one's so pigmented here. Like so. Flip it over. Here we go. Easy. I'm all about the easy eye looks. That looks really pretty. So there it is. Just with these 2 brushes and this little palette. I have my full face in here. Super convenient and easy to travel with. And, oh, you know what? I'm going to put a little bit on my lips. I always forget to do this. I have lip balm on, but these are lip and cheek, so obviously you can even put these on your eyes, you know, so they're all universal, and I love to do that as well. Could even do that with the smudge brush and the contour, you know, so just very, very lightly. I have other videos where I'm doing that as well because I do it often, and it's really, really easy to do. for a very quick eyeshadow look. Last thing I'm going to show you is the brush cleanser. Like I said, you know, so it's very, very quick and I can show you in real time. I love using our microfiber cloths. Again, it sounds crazy, but I really love these cloths. They come out spotless in the wash after all of the makeup that's on there. I love them and they feel amazing on the skin. That's actually the most important thing, is they're very kind on the skin because I use this to remove my makeup when I'm double cleansing. So I literally just put a few squirts and I'm not dousing my brush. Sometimes you could even put a couple of squirts on the towel itself. And then usually do this on the counter, but you could even do this in the hand. And then you just kind of rub circular motions. You're not smashing the brush in here, just very, very gently. And then sometimes there's a little bit of trace elements, but let's see. It looks pretty good. So there. So you saw like how dirty it was before. And that was it. And now it's like dry. I could like use it right away because I didn't go overboard with dousing my brush. And now this side, here we go. You can see all the makeup on here. Do the same thing. And you could also go over the same spot. Here it is. Okay, because that just helps, you know, since it already has the brush cleanser on here. And again, I'm just going very gently. I'm just going circular motions. Here we go. And that's it. And it smells so good. And then of course you can just clean the handle and fingerprints and any bacteria from your fingerprints. And now that is spotless and I could use it right now. And I'll show you even on the eyeshadow brush, because the eyeshadow brush is a little bit more, you know, so we've got some of the powder on here. And of course this brush cleanser works with any eyeshadow, any makeup brush, any makeup. So even natural bristles, I do have a couple of natural bristle brushes. I was a little bit more careful with it, but I did experiment and it was fine. You know, so I have like some Sonia G brushes that are natural brushes and very expensive. So I was cautious, but it worked. And then there's the eyeshadow brush that is spotless now. And then we'll do the other side. So this is what I do once a week actually, and that's all I have to do. I don't have to worry about dousing my brushes with water and, you know, all of that. But I do want to do every few months, 3 to 4 months, a deep clean. You know, that is very important to me because obviously this is like a spot clean, even though it's disinfecting and conditioning. I still feel like good old-fashioned soap and water is always what the doctor ordered. Like it's sooner or later that, you know, you need to do that. But between the brush cleanser and, you know, the actual soap that you use with the soap and water, the soap block, and this, I'm all set because I'm very meticulous about my brushes. Okay, and that's it. So the Brush Blitz is today only, June 14th, but of course these are always available. So it's not like they're limited edition. They will always be available. So this tutorial is going to stay up because of the demonstration with the Buff Brush and the Smudge Brush and the Palette 8. But yeah, today is the Brush Blitz. All of my information is down below for shopping links. My link tree, everything is there. So you could shop Seint Makeup, you could get a color match through there. I have the color match form, or my text number is also there. I even have it in the description too, so you don't even have to go to the link tree. So contact me and we'll get you started. So thank you again for joining me, and I will see you next time.